Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück. Wir sind wieder bei The Uncle Who Works for Nintendo. Und wenn wir uns hier mal unsere Endings anschauen, wir haben Undefined Error, Run, Exit, All Unsaved Data will be lost und ein allerletztes, 5. ist noch offen. Wir spicken mal, was wir dafür tun müssen. Some things you remember don't match what you see. Learn what you can, ask questions, have a serious talk, don't be mean, but still, get out of there. And then make what might be the worst decision ever. Okay, das klingt erstmal der obere Teil genau wie das, was wir gerade gemacht haben. Wir versuchen uns also an dasselbe Skript zu halten. And then make what might be the worst decision ever. Dann müssen wir eine große Fehlentscheidung treffen. Das versuchen wir. Back. Und wir fangen wieder an. 7 Uhr. One quick question then. Was your friend's father drinking beer at dinner? I'm not sure what I saw. In the corner, the grandfather clock is ticking softly. Through a nearby set of patio doors, you can see it's getting quite dark. Framed pictures line the walls. Dave is parked in front of the large TV, playing something on the Nintendo 64. Talk to Dave, watch Dave play, go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen, think about Dave's uncle. Wir fangen gleich mal an mit der Küche, damit wir gleich wieder in dieselbe Richtung gehen. Go to the kitchen. You head towards the kitchen, thinking you may grab a soda from the fridge. On the way, you have to head to the dining room. Dave's mom and dad are still there. The table hasn't yet been cleared, and they are still sitting in the exact same places you left them. In fact, you realize they aren't moving at all. They sit there completely still like mannequins. Dave's dad is holding up his glass of lemonade as if getting ready to take a drink. Dave's mom has her head turned and her mouth slightly open as if she froze immediately after you and Dave left the dining room. Attempt to talk to them. Hello? They don't respond. Thunder rumbles outside. They don't seem to notice. Please, are you okay? They aren't even blinking. Run back to the den. You head back to the den. In the corner, the grandfather clock is ticking softly. Through a nearby set of patio doors, you can see it's getting quite dark. Framed pictures line the walls. Dave is parked in front of the large TV, playing something on the Nintendo 64. Tell Dave about his parents. You tell Dave what you saw. What? He asks, looking over his shoulder at you and pausing his game. Your parents are sitting in the dining room still. They're not moving, they're not even blinking. Are you sure? Says Dave, frowning at you. I bet they're just being weird. Give me a second. As he stands and moves out of the room, he points back at the 64. You can play my game if you want. Und wir warten wieder. You stand alone in the den, listening to the wind outside and the chiming of the grandfather clock. You try to listen to the conversation Dave must be having with his parents, but you don't hear anything, and after a while, Dave comes back. They look fine to me, says Dave. Mom said she's gonna bring us popcorn soon. But I saw them. Nice try for a prank though, says Dave, seemingly ignoring you. Oh, and one more thing, he says while he resumes his spot in front of the Nintendo. Thanks for sending me out then. Mom made me help her clean up after all. Special company. What? Oh, my uncle is coming to visit. Time passes. The clock chimes. You are in the den. Dave is parked in front of the large TV, playing something on the Nintendo 64. Haben wir noch denselben Weg wie vorher? Ich dachte, dass das Gespräch über die Eltern länger war. Okay, wir machen Talk to Dave. Ah ja, und hier sind wir jetzt. Ask about parents. How are your parents doing? What are you talking about? Asks Dave. They're fine, I guess. How's your mom? Wir gehen weiter in die Richtung. Listen, I know this will sound weird, but at dinner I thought I saw your dad drinking a beer. Dave doesn't even look at you. My dad doesn't drink, he says. Yeah, I know. That's why it was so weird, because when I looked again, it was just a glass of lemonade. This seems to catch Dave's attention as he stops playing the game and turns to look at you. Are you sure you saw that? Yeah, totally. Weird, huh? Yeah, says Dave and then grins at you. Maybe you're losing it. So much for that. What else is there to talk about? Wir versuchen es mal mit den anderen Kategorien. Games. You try to strike up a conversation, but Dave is too involved in the game and seems to be ignoring you. You simply watch him play in silence. An hour passes. The clock chimes. You are in the den. Dave's mother bustles into the room holding a large ceramic bowl filled with popcorn under her arm. Your jaw tightens as she casts a sunny smile in your direction, and there is no sign of the horrible mannequin you saw earlier. How are you kids doing? She asks. Good, says Dave, his eyes not moving from the television. I hope you're having fun, says Dave's mom. Here's some popcorn, extra butter. She places it on the floor by Dave. Almost immediately, Dave is shoveling popcorn into his mouth. Meanwhile, his mother smiles first at him and then back at you. There's sodas in the kitchen if you get thirsty, she says. And some pizza from the other night if you get hungry. Okay. She looks at Dave. Your father has gone to bed. I'll be there soon myself. I want you two to keep quiet, alright? Yes, Mom, Dave says tiredly. Oh, and before I forget, she adds, your uncle called. He's running a little late. Some bad weather is out his way, but he says he'll be here around midnight. For the first time, Dave stops playing his game, stops eating popcorn, and turns to look at his mother. Okay, he says. I want you two to welcome him in. He'll be very tired and very hungry, so offer him something to eat before he goes to bed. Okay, Mom. Good night, kids. And with that, she's gone. So. Okay, Dave is parked in front of the large TV playing something on the Nintendo 64. There's a bowl of popcorn on the floor. Er spielt noch immer. Ich hatte gedacht, er hätte nicht mehr gespielt. Wir versuchen nochmal mit ihm zu sprechen. Talk to Dave. Ask about parents. So, I was hallucinating that thing with your parents? Of course you were, says Dave. You weirdo. But the thing is, I saw them. No, you thought you saw them, Dave says firmly. You bite your lip and look at your hands. I thought so. Never mind. I'm sorry I brought it up. Yeah, it's okay, says Dave, shrugging. You wonder what else you could talk about. Wir gehen doch mal auf den Vater mit dem Bier ein. Ask about parents. So I was hallucinating the thing with your parents? Of course you were, says Dave. You weirdo. But you see, earlier at dinner I saw your dad drinking a beer. Dave doesn't even look at you. My dad doesn't drink, he says. Yeah, I know. That's why it was so weird, because when I looked again it was just a glass of lemonade. This seems to catch Dave's attention as he stops playing the game and turns at you. Are you sure you saw that? Yeah, totally. Weird, huh? Yeah, says Dave, and then he grins at you. Maybe you're losing it. So much for that. What else is there to talk about? Okay, da sind wir also nicht weitergekommen. Never mind. Er zockt noch immer. Wir fragen ihn mal über den Onkel aus. So, why is your uncle coming? Dave shrugs. Business? But I thought he worked for Nintendo. He does, says Dave, frowning but not looking away from the TV screen. He's really important there. Does Nintendo have a lot of business here? Why else would my uncle be coming? Dave says, as if you've asked the dumbest question in the world. Well, it's cool I finally get to meet him. Yeah, agrees Dave, I think you like him. What sort of work does your uncle do? Dave pauses the game and turns toward you, visibly agitated. How should I know? I don't work for them. Right now he's not quite yelling, but you'd think if you keep pressing the subject, he might. I'm not sure I believe you about your uncle. Dave takes a moment to respond, as if he's not quite sure he heard you correctly. What? I don't believe your uncle works for Nintendo. You think you've finally done it. Dave stands up, fists clenched at his side, but mouth twisting horribly as he struggles to say something. You watch as he takes a step toward you and you involuntarily flinch. Dave shakes his head, as if remembering something. Never mind, he said. Just never mind. You want to say something more, but he's already re-immersed in the video game. You take a breather. Ja, da sind wir jetzt wieder. Dave is ignoring the Nintendo and is sitting on the floor, doing nothing. There's a bowl of popcorn on the floor. Jetzt ist, glaube ich, der Zeitpunkt gekommen. Call your mom. Passing hesitantly through the now empty dining room, you enter the kitchen where the phone sits on the counter. Call mom. You dial your mom's work number and wait. She picks up after 3 rings. Things are really weird here. What do you mean? I just wanna go home, Mom, please. Really, honey? She asks. Yes, please, Mom, please. Oder never mind, wir betteln sie an. Please, Mom, please. She sighs heavily. Of course, she says. I'll call the sitter. She'll probably be there in an hour. No, really, I have to go. She hangs up. You return to the tent and then unpack your things. Ist schon mal anders. Ein bisschen was ist wieder anders. Ich hoffe, wir kriegen trotzdem das neue Ende. You return to the den. Dave is sitting silently on the floor as you come in. You're leaving, aren't you? He says. Wir riskieren einfach mal die andere Variante. I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I should have known it was different, Dave mumbles. You were remembering too much. If your uncle's so powerful, why can't he just keep me here? Dave frowns. He gets weak. He can't do as much. Is that why things have been different? Is he weaker now? Begin packing your stuff. Please, says Dave, please don't go. I've never not fed him, and if I don't, I'm not sure what will happen. So, you just want me to get eaten or whatever? No, please no, he replies. It's not... I think he'll kill me, do you understand? He would have killed me if I didn't... Shut up and leave me alone. You can tell that Dave is on the verge of tears, but nevertheless, he does as you ask, walking over to sit in the middle of the den as you finish packing. You wait in awkward silence until finally a car honks outside. You get up to leave. Dave has wandered over to the fireplace and is looking into its unlit depths as you walk out the door into the night. The sitter's familiar car is parked out front. As you walk closer, you see your little sister in the back seat, still in their pajamas. And the sitter, a high school girl who lives down the street from you, looks incredibly unhappy to be here, but you think you'll be able to handle her. As you climb into the car, you cast one look over your shoulder back to the house. The front door is closed. You suddenly can't remember if you did that yourself. The lights in the den are still burning. As the sitter pulls away from the house, you stare out the window at Dave's house, the lights blurred and magnified by the rain streaming down the glass. Eventually, it all slides out of view. You find out the next afternoon about the fire. It started in the den, say the papers, where there was known to be a fireplace. Apparently it was left smoldering in the night. There were no survivors. Arson is suspected since an accelerant would have helped the flames overcome the night's heavy rains, but nothing definitive is ever publicly released in this account. One day after school, you ride your bike to check it out. Parts of the house still stand, walls and beams blackened by the flames. Yellow caution tape has been looped around the outside, and the rubble hasn't yet been totally cleared out by the city. You decide to investigate. The second floor is either mostly burned away or fallen through, but standing in what used to be the den, you look up to the hole that would have been Dave's room. The broken glass and charred drywall crunch beneath your feet, until you step on something that isn't glass. You look down, there in the mess is what looks like a Game Boy. Achtung, es wird spannend. It's a Game Boy Color, not at all scuffed or damaged. In the back is a single cartridge, a copy of Pokemon Blue. You take Dave's Game Boy. Looking from side to side, as if anyone might actually be watching, you pick up the Game Boy and flick on the power switch. After clicking through the Pokemon intro screens, you find there's no saved game on the card. It's like a brand new copy. You turn off the Game Boy and, stuffing it in your pocket, return home. Your mom is standing in the kitchen when you arrive, doing dishes, and your little sister is watching some annoying cartoon. Remember to take a bath and get dressed before 7, Mom calls. Remember? You're fairly certain she never told you that in the first place? You walk into the kitchen, dropping your backpack on the linoleum floor. Why do I need to do all that? Silly, she says. Your mom turns from the sink to smile at you, and your throat tightens when you see how glassy and empty her eyes are. Don't you remember, she asks, your uncle is coming over for dinner to celebrate his new job. And the uncle who works for Nintendo. Ende Nummer 5, do you want to continue? Alter, ich weiß nicht, wann ich zuletzt, als ich eigentlich nur was gelesen habe, eine solche Gänsehaut hatte, wie bei diesem Ende. Hammer. Ich find's echt richtig stark. Jedes Ende ist einfach nur gut. Und wir haben alle 5 Enden. Undefined Error, Run, Exit, all unsafe data will be lost. And do you want to continue? Und ich habe gerade schon gesehen, ich kann hier klicken. Do we want to continue? Das werdet ihr morgen sehen. Denn ich beende jetzt die Aufnahme, will mich selber nicht spoilern. Und entweder es kommt morgen noch eine neue Folge, eine Folge Nummer 6, oder an dieser Stelle ist das Let's Play beendet. Auf jeden Fall danke ich euch schon mal fürs Zuschauen. Ich hoffe, euch hat es genauso mitgerissen, genauso viel Spaß gemacht und fasziniert, wie es mir ging. Ich finde es eine super Sache, diese Twine Games, diese Text-Adventures mehr oder weniger. Macht auf jeden Fall Spaß. Guckt da gerne mal vorbei. Link zum Spiel ist unten in der Beschreibung. Ist ja alles kostenlos. Und noch mehr würde ich mich freuen, wenn ihr mir ein Like da lasst, ein Comment, ein Abo, was auch immer. Ich bedanke mich fürs Zuschauen. Ich wünsche euch noch was. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Macht's gut. Adios.